Hey, gorgeous souls, it's Vix, and I'm here with another Pick a Card reading. In today's episode of Pick a Card, we are going to be doing a love reading. Now, this is about love in all of its forms. So, if you are here to find out potentially about what you need to know in your romantic relationships, great, you're in the right place. Hopefully, some guidance will come through for you around that. If you are more curious in how you can love yourself deeper or just experience love in deeper ways, then stick around. So, just wanted to tell you really quickly before we start the reading. I am doing another Kundalini Magic workshop this month. I'm recording this in February 2023, but if you're watching this later, the replay will be available. So if this is something that you're interested in, you can still come along. We are going to be using Kundalini yoga practices, really simple practices. So it's not a super physical class. We're going to be doing some meditations and a few different things with our hands and our minds and our hearts. We are also going to explore the threefold flame. This is an ascension teaching, which I think is really powerful and really, really underused and underrated. So we're going to be exploring that. We're going to do a meditation on that as well. And yeah, it's just going to be a really nice opportunity to gather and connect and set intentions and just have a really beautiful experience, hopefully. So if you're interested, the link is below. And as I said, there will be a replay up as well if you're watching this after the 13th of February, which is when our workshop is. Okay, so on to the reading. The decks we are using today, the Goddesses Among Us Oracle. This is the Oracle deck that I created with Ellie Grant, and it is published by Rockpool Publishing. And we're also using the Modern Witch Tarot, which is pretty much my favorite tarot deck at the moment. So let's just take a moment before I show you the cards. Let's just take a moment, hand on heart, close your eyes. Sorry if that was really loud. Just whack the microphone. And let's just take a breath together. Please only do this if you're somewhere where you can. If you're watching this on the go and you can't stop and tune in, and just kind of set the intention that you're tuned in. So let's just take a big deep breath in together. So inhale and exhale, and just feel yourself filled with light, surrounded by light. And just take a moment to set an intention to really think about why you are here. What is going on for you at the moment in your relationships? What is going on for you in your heart? What is happening around romance, around love in other forms? Just kind of set an intention and maybe just anchor in a specific question that you have. And as you do that, I'm setting the intention that you will receive the messages that you need, and that everything that comes through will be in alignment with your best and highest good. And so it is. So please remember as well with these readings that it's actually quite difficult to do a very specific reading when you have however many, hopefully a couple of hundred people watch this, and everyone's going through their own stuff. So these readings are always going to be a little bit general, but hopefully in the general kind of messages that are coming through, you can find what it is that you need. Maybe it is something that I say that you really resonate with. Maybe it's something that you see in the card, something that you see in an image that just really sticks out to you. Maybe you go away and Google the cards, the tarot cards, or maybe you do a Google on the goddess that comes up for you and you discover more about your messages in that way. But just trust that you'll get what you need here, and that the messages may come through in other ways. So it may be like, a couple of days from now, you suddenly have some guidance. So yeah, just be open to your messages coming through and just trust that they will. Okay, so I'm going to hold up the cards. It's really difficult to hold up the cards. And this is part of the reason that I was thinking about changing the format of these and just showing you the cards. But a lot of people were like, Vix, you want to see your face? Hi. Okay, so here are the cards. Hopefully you can see these okay. We have set 1. We have set 2 in the middle, and we have set 3. So you may be looking at the screen and be like, yep, I'm so drawn to one of these piles. Maybe it's the number 1, 2, or 3. Or maybe you're here to listen to all of the messages. And I know some people have said to me that they actually listen to all of them and they take what resonates from each one. So you do you, you do whatever works for you. Okay, so set 1. Your tarot card is the High Priestess, and your goddess is Green Tara, and her keywords are enlightenment, protection, and liberation. So this is a pretty big combo. And my first my first thought with this, as we start to really tune into the energy of these cards, is that for you there are messages about higher love coming through, higher love. As much as you may be feeling very focused on your relationships in the physical, in the 3D world, there is an aspect of love that is available to you, which you probably already know if you're here watching this, that is higher and more expansive, and something that is going to fill you up in a way that maybe you have been trying to get your 3D relationships. Like maybe you want your partner or your friends or your family to kind of fill this void in your life, which is something that so many of us do. We feel really disconnected, and so the way to stop feeling disconnected is that we want to connect with people and we want to be with people. And there's just this feeling for you coming through, this reminder for you at the moment that yes, our friends and our family and the people that we love in this life are so important to our journey, so important to us, we're important to them, such a huge part of the human experience. However, we can't expect other people to fill the gaping void within us. And I'm feeling for you at the moment that this is a real message of like, you've got to fill yourself. You've got to find a way to experience love that is not dependent on other people. So if you're somebody who is going through a breakup, or you've recently lost someone, whether that's to a breakup or grief, or you've lost someone who's moved on to the spiritual plane, or whatever is kind of going on, there's a lot of different ways that we can lose people. Even sometimes we can lose someone who is still here, but it just feels like we've completely lost that connection. If you're feeling that loss, it can be tempting to want to replace that, not replace that person, but fill that space with somebody new. And while yes, definitely call new people into your life all the time, call in your soul family, call in whoever's going to come in next, be calling that in, but they really want you to be focusing on yourself and filling yourself up so that you're not looking outside of yourself for love. That's kind of it in a nutshell. It took a long time for me to get to that point, but yeah, this is all about looking inside. We're going to do a little bit of that in the workshop that we're doing. Link below if you're interested. Apologies for that, gorgeous souls. My laptop just crashed. It's not even Mercury retrograde. So yeah, this message for you is really about finding some ways to fill yourself up first, and to rely on yourself to be the person that fills you. And then once you're full and you're feeling good, then you know what's going to happen? You're just going to attract all of the right people to you. You're just going to be like this shiny beacon of light, and everybody's going to want some of that, and everyone's going to want to hang with you. And then you get to decide whether or not you want to spend time with those people. But that is your main message. This High Priestess, she is all about just like she's so in her power. You know, she is so in her power, and she doesn't look for, you know, this isn't a lover's card. This isn't a lover's situation. This isn't like, there's no one else here. There's just her. She's doing her spiritual practices. You know, she's good. She's good with herself. She knows that all of the answers are within, and that's the place that she needs to look. And then, of course, we have the Green Tara, and you know, some pretty big keywords on here: enlightenment, protection, liberation. The protection piece is coming up here as well for you. So if you're feeling like your heart has been a little bit hurt, that you're suffering, that you're struggling to maybe move through some heartbreak, or you're really holding some heavy stuff in your heart, you can work with Green Tara. She will really help you with the heart healing. But there's also an invitation here to take some time out actually from relationships. If that, you know, if that resonates for you, to take some time out, to take a step back. Even you can still be in a relationship and do this, right? Like you can still have someone in your life, but you can say, you know what, I need to take a bit of time for myself, and I need to do more of the things I love. I need to, you know, we talk about love in this reading, and it's like, well, what do you love? What are the things that you love doing? Like, how do you want to spend your time? One thing that a lot of people do in relationships is we do all of the things that that person likes to do. Especially early on, and then later on it's like, oh, I've kind of lost myself here. I've kind of haven't, you know, when was the last time I did X, Y, and Z, like the things that I really wanted to do. So this is an invitation and a reminder to you to fill your own cup, to do the things that you love, and to not look to other people to fill the void within your soul. Only you can do that. Only you, your spiritual practice, you know, however, whatever it looks like for you, however it is that you feel like you're going to fill any space in your life that has been created by people leaving, or people not being there in the first place. So yeah, and a message as well, if you know, as we talk about love, it's big stuff for people, and a lot of stuff can come up around relationships, a lot of trauma stuff, a lot of, you know, stuff that we can't really look into in these like 10-minute little videos. So a reminder again to please get some support if you need it as you navigate through it all. I really hope that served you, and I'm sending you lots of love. Okay. Cards number 2, we have the Star, and we have St. Lucy, and St. Lucy's keywords are charity, faith, and sight. So really, really interesting combo. And if you just listen to the previous cards, I feel like we're going to have some similar messages here. If you didn't listen to it, maybe you want to go back and have a listen. But the Star to me is always a little bit about the higher self. And again, there's a message here of focusing on yourself. You know, as I was like, oh, let's do a love reading, and all the messages are coming through like, hey, love yourself, focus on yourself, do your thing. But that's so important. It's such a big, important piece. And as I said in the previous reading, but I just want to reiterate it, so many of us are looking for somebody else to be the answer, to our problems, to like, you know, oh, if I only had a romantic partner, everything would be fine. You know, and then you get a romantic partner, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe if I only had a better romantic partner, if I only had something else, everything will be fine. Like, we're constantly kind of looking for this thing that's going to make everything fine. And the Star reminds us that, guess what is the thing that's going to make everything fine? Is your higher self, is connecting to the wisdom within. There's a message coming through for you around romantic relationships, friendships, all the people you're connected with, to really trust your intuition. If you are feeling like you're not sure about the relationship that you're in, whether that is a romantic relationship, a friendship, somebody that you're kind of really invested emotionally with, but you're kind of like just not really sure. Tune into that feeling and trust that feeling, because it's probably your intuition giving you some guidance. There's probably a reason that you're feeling like that. Of course, it can be really complicated, because sometimes when people have trauma brings up these feelings of like, can I trust this person? Is this okay? And it's trauma, it's anxiety. And sometimes we can confuse that with intuition. The way that I like to kind of figure out the difference is that, to me, my intuition always feels very loving and very kind. My anxiety and trauma responses usually feel like fear, like I want to run, like I want to just get out of there. Whereas the intuition is like, okay, like it's a little bit more calm, it's a bit more, right, let's have a look at this situation. What's really going on? Why am I having this feeling? But trust your intuition. And when I say trust your intuition, I don't mean just go off and do every single thing that you have a little inkling you should do. Trusting your intuition tends to be, for me anyways, more about tuning into it, sitting with it, thinking about, what is this message? What is this feeling? And kind of unpacking it a little bit and seeing what else is there. If you're having a feeling like maybe you can't trust somebody, unpack that. Is that your stuff? Is that their stuff? Is it because you've had a bad experience with somebody that you actually couldn't trust? Or are they giving you some signs to suggest something's going on? So those are some good ways to kind of work with your intuition. You don't need to rely on intuition by itself, but intuition can be a really good guiding point to kind of point you in the direction of, oh, maybe you should think about this, and what about this, and have a look at things a little bit more kind of logically. I think sometimes we get caught up in this idea that there's logic and there's intuition and you have to choose one or the other, but actually when we work with both, that's when things really start to kind of align, and it's like, okay, intuitively I wasn't sure this was right, logically it's not. Or intuitively I'm not sure, but logically it seems like a really good idea, but they're not in alignment, so what's going on? And then that can be a sign as well, and to kind of think about things before you really jump in or before you go further. So this could be about any relationship that's in your life. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could just be a friendship or somebody that's been getting close. But there are so many like memes, and there's this real vibe at the moment in the community of just like, cut people out of your life, right? If they're not, if they don't feel like they're in alignment, or if they ever look at you in the wrong way, just cut them out. I think there's a message here for you as well around compassion and trying to see, which is what we do with the star, as the higher self. We can zoom out and we can look at situations from a higher perspective. And I feel like that's something you're being called to do as well with your relationships at the moment, is to really zoom out, look at what's going on, look at the other people involved, look at, well, why might they be acting like they're acting, and also use this as an opportunity to maybe look at what's going on with you. Why are you acting how you're acting? There can be a little bit of an opportunity there to do some shadow work as well. So yeah, have a look at that with your relationships. Just zoom out and try to see things from different point of views and different perspectives. We can get very, very intense in our relationships and very focused on how we see things, and well, we think this person is X, Y, Z. That's our idea of them, without really stopping to pause and ask ourselves, like, why are they like that? Why are they doing that? And having conversations is always a good place to, a good thing to remember as well. And again, going back to that, like if you've got like a little nudge that's kind of saying, oh, I'm not sure about this, have conversations with people, open up these conversations, ask people the questions that you want to ask them. That's sometimes the best way to figure something out, is just to ask someone. So Yeah, and one last thing with the St. Lucy card, I also wanted to just touch really quickly on the faith keyword of this card, the faith aspect. If things have been a little bit challenging for you in any of your relationships, please keep the faith, because it feels like, um, maybe for some of you, you might have been in a little bit of a drought with romantic relationships, with friendships, just meeting new people, finding your soul family, whatever it is, you might be feeling a little bit like, where are my people? And if you're feeling like that, please keep the faith, because your people are out there. And yeah, put yourself out there, but keep the faith that you will find your people. Okay, I really, really hope that resonated. There was something useful in there for you, and I'm sending you lots and lots of love. Okay, my set 3 people, you have the 7 of Swords, and you have Nikki, speed, strength, and victory. So I'm loving this. The 7 of Swords, however, suggests that we need to do a little bit of work before we get to the victory and everything's kind of working out. So the 7 of Swords is such an interesting card in the tarot, and people often read this as the sneaky card, and somebody is taking something from you. Or whenever I see it, I always feel like the person on the card has actually just gone back and taken taken something that was taken from them first. So I like to see this card as a taking back your power card. And I feel like for you in your relationships, there's a message here for you to take back your power. I feel like you've given your power away a lot of times to a lot of different people, and a lot of sensitive souls do this. Like, this is just a thing that we do. We have very open hearts, and this is something I'm going to be teaching about in the workshop with the threefold flame, and how to kind of align your heart in such a way that you don't have to be so super protective of it, but also it can really kind of open up and activate, and it can self-protect, which we all need. We all need, and we all want a heart that's self-protecting, right? We don't have to worry about, oh gosh, who's going to hurt me? But for you, there's this real element of taking back your power from some of these past relationships. And I'd love to see you, and everybody actually in the world really doing this, releasing some of the guilt, the shame, the blame, blaming yourself for things that didn't go right, blaming other people. That's kind of a different thing. Maybe we can talk about that in a second. But let's start with releasing some of the blame that you're holding onto for the relationships that didn't work out, the things that you did wrong, the people that you hurt, the people that you burned along the way. We are all human. None of us are perfect. We have all hurt other people. There's not one single person on this planet who hasn't hurt somebody else in some way or another. So let's just accept that, like, this is what happens. And as you go along your spiritual journey and your personal development journey, which you're probably on if you're here, you will probably be on this journey of, I'm going to try to not hurt people anymore. I'm going to try and be a better person, and bring more love and compassion to my relationships, and not be a jerk to people. And that's fantastic. I think that's the path that we're all on here, right? Like, we're trying to be better to ourselves and to others. But it's not always easy, and we're still always going to make mistakes. We're still always going, I don't even want to really call it mistakes, because it's learning. Every time that we do something or say something that we regret, we're like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And then we don't do it again, or at least we don't do it in the same way again. And so this is all opportunities for learning. And I would love, love, love to see you do some self-forgiveness. I feel like you're just holding a lot. You're holding a lot of stuff that's just not yours. One of my favorite things to do is to pluck out the lessons of all the stuff I'm holding on to, take the lesson, take the blessing, and let the rest go. And I think this is so, so true for when we feel like we've done something bad or we've hurt somebody else. we can obsess over that until the end of time. Or we can say, do you know what? I learned from that. I learned not to do that. I learned that that hurts people. I learned that I don't want to be that person, and I'm going to move on and I'm going to do something good. I'm going to go and help somebody. And then you can let the rest go. Like, I feel like so many of us are holding on to so much unforgiveness of the self. Like, we're so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves, and it's got to go. Like, we've got to let that go, because that's how we make room. That's how we make space in our hearts for more love to come in. That's how we make space in our life, in our aura, for new people to come in, for new, in whatever form, friends, family, chosen family, romance, whatever it is that you want. We've got to have space for that. And if you are holding on to all of this guilt and this shame and blame, self-blame and all this stuff, it's really hard for other people to really, get intimate with you. Like, how is someone supposed to come into your space and really love you if you're kind of constantly blaming yourself for all this stuff that happened? It really puts a big block on the heart. So you've learned your lesson, okay? Like, you learn your lesson when you decide not to do that again. So if you've hurt someone in the past and you're like, I don't want to hurt people anymore, that's it. It's done. It's done. You can do a fire ceremony. You can do like a ritual. You can come and do some Kundalini yoga, Kundalini magic, and that will help you as a kind of ritual way to release that. But right now, you can just decide that that is done and that is finished and that is clear. And you don't have to be carrying it anymore. I give you permission. If you won't give yourself permission, I give you permission to put that down and let it go. So once you've done that, then we get on to the topic of forgiving other people. That is sometimes it's much harder to forgive other people, especially if they've really hurt you. Sometimes it's actually a lot easier to forgive other people. We hold on to all this stuff within ourselves, but we're like, oh, forgiven that person years ago, but I'm still blaming myself for my part of the situation. So if you can do some forgiveness work and let people go, just let them go. Forgiveness is one of those really challenging concepts for people, because it's like this idea of forgiving someone means that you say it's all okay and it's fine that you did what you did. And that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness, to me anyway, is like a release. It's like you're cutting cords. You're dissolving cords. You're just saying, you know what? I gotta let it go. I gotta let it go from me. And forgiveness doesn't even have to have anything to do with the other person. It's like you're carrying a brick around and you just put it down because you're like, you know what? This is so heavy. Why am I carrying this? And then once you do that, it makes space for all this other good stuff that you want in your life, for better relationships, happier relationships, more joy, more love, more peace. So yeah, lots and lots of big, I feel like I've just given you a big lecture about gotta let stuff go. And this is like, I don't want anyone to think that, I'm sitting here and I have it all figured out. Like this, I'm doing this work all the time on myself. And it's just noticing, and it's just like, wow, what am I carrying around? Okay, I'm going to try and let that go. And some things will be easy to let go, and you'll be like, oh, I feel really free and light from that. And then other things, you'll think you've let it go, and then it comes around, a couple months later, you'll be like, oh, this again. But yeah, it's so important. I feel like it's so important for you in order to move forward, because then you have the Nikki card, speed, strength, and victory. For love and relationships, speed, strength, and victory. When you have speed, strength, and victory in your relationships, like, wow, like you just can't really go wrong with that. Like that's some pretty big, powerful energy when it comes to manifesting. And I feel like for you, I love this word manifesting for you, like really manifesting the love that you want in your life. But the way for you to be able to do that, the way for you to really be able to call in what you want in whatever form that you want love in, the way that you're going to be able to do that, the best thing that you need to do is you need to release and let go of whatever you're blaming yourself for, whatever you're still holding onto, the stuff that you're blaming yourself for, and also maybe some stuff that you're blaming other people for. It's time to let go of the past. It's time to let go of past relationships. You've learnt your lesson. Your karma's clear. Move on, move on, move on, move on. Be happy. Move on and be happy. That's like coming through loud and clear. Move on and be happy. Move on and be happy. Move on and be happy. And so it is. I really, really hope that reading served you, and I'm sending you so, so, so much love.